Hi everybody, it's Thea and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Garden Goddess Tarot. It's been a hot second, I'm sorry. We're back with another tarot roundup. I'm sorry, it's really not that exciting. I've been in like a groove the last like 3 months when it comes to my tarot practice. And considering it's been like a good solid 3 months since I've done an update, like there isn't as much variety as there otherwise would be. I feel like I'm in like a nice, like my practice has hit like a sweet spot that's like, it's important, it's useful, it like sits at a really great place with me, but while also not being overwhelming. Like it's nice. So we'll share a little bit about the decks I've been using, what I've been using them for, etc, etc. Also though, kind of exciting, the mandatory garden update. It's still heckin' winter outside. Voila. Snow still. Today it is the 20th of March. It's kind of a fun day today actually. It's the spring equinox. It's also Ostara. Tomorrow is the new moon in Aries. It's also the first day of the zodiacal new year, so happy new year everybody. Super fun. So there's like a lot of things going on, you know, in the world. So it's a good energy, it's a good vibe. I like it. I kind of like, this time of year, I feel more alive in general. So the garden waking up again is a nice little reflection of that. But it is still, it looks asleep outside, but I've begun starting seeds indoors. So that little bit of green hope that is sprouting from the ground just really, it lights my soul on fire. It makes me, you know, gives me the will to live, etc, etc, and so on and so forth. So those little basil babies, look at them, they're so small, so tiny, but like, you brush your hand over them and they smell of basil already. Like they're, you know, they're so authentically themselves. They're just always basil, even when they're like mere days old. They are themselves, and it's wonderful. So anyway, basil, very great. It's growing, it's got some mint, some lemon balm, among other various things. There's a ton of stuff going on in the plant room in a couple more weeks, and that's going to be bursting with so much life. I've been sowing the seeds in kind of my regular succession plan. The stuff that takes longer to germinate I start earlier, and the stuff that, you know, pops up in a few days I start later, just to kind of not make it so I've got really leggy plants trying to get outside when it's still frozen. Because although it does kind of sort of feel a little bit like spring is getting going, I won't be able to plant stuff out until the first week of May usually. So I still have another like month and a half to kind of sit tight, which is fine. It's what the plant room's for. That's why it's important for me. If any of you are gardeners out there, I garden in a zone 5A or 5B. I think it's 5B. So it's just a reflection of how cold it gets in the wintertime and the kind of plants I can grow. But, and it's kind of a rough idea of when our frost dates are too. But yeah, first week of May is usually our last frost of the season, and then I can start planting out the tender annuals and stuff. But hopefully before then we'll have some fun things like crocuses and snowdrops. But this year the snow is just hanging on, and I have no sign of growth whatsoever yet. So there's some hellebores budding up, but they kind of do in the wintertime underneath the snow, and I can't see them if I wanted to anyway, because there's still like 6 inches of snow on top of them. So that's the mandatory garden update. So hopefully yeah, I'll be able to stick a shovel in the ground soon. I'm very much looking forward to it. The draft plans for the new gardens have been drawn up, and ambitious, maybe, but I don't care. I've just, like, I didn't do a whole lot of expanding last year. This year I think it's gonna go. We're gonna make more space. We're gonna, you know, increase the flow of the garden, just make the space the Eden that it serves to be. So that's the exciting new plan. I'll keep you all updated on that as we go along, because that's going to be a major focus of the next few months for me for sure. Some other personal updates as well, if you're at all curious. I left the part-time position that I had at the metaphysical shop for sensible reasons. I've been stepping away slowly, and I've severed that particular tie for now, just to, you know, let us both grow in our own directions for a little while first, but that's not to say, who knows, maybe I'll end up back there later on when things get busier, but for now it was the right thing to do. So I've stepped away from there, which gives me a little chunk more free time to kind of focus on the things I want to do and figure out what I want to be when I grow up. I never know. Absolutely never know. And I never will know. I'm a human being, and I'm very good at being. just here doing my thing, and tis great. So yes, calendar's wide open. So much potential. So much room for adventure. So excited. So anywho, that's kind of where I am, like, life-wise right now. Things are, you know, it's that, like, total tabula rasa, man. It's like blank slate, too much potential. So much potential. Mixed with, like, we've got our new moon in Aries, we've got our spring equinox, we've got, you know, zodiacal new year, Aries season, like, boom. It's like, okay, this is the fresh start moment right now. Like, right now. Which way are we gonna go? And I live for these moments. They're like, you know, my fire sign heart just, like, it sends me going in all directions. So it's good. I need these every so often. So yeah, that's, I guess, I'm coming out of a little bit of a hibernation period personally as well, not just with, you know, general winter blues, sadness, deep depression, spirals of anxiety ridden abyssal existential crisis, as well as husband and I both got COVID. So he was fine after about a week, but I was down for about 2, and I was just, I'm a little sneezy, but for the most part I'm clear, I'm good to go. I still haven't really been going anywhere, but it was unpleasant. 0 out of 10 do not recommend. But we made it, we survived, and that part of my life is over. Thank goodness. We made it like 3 years and we didn't get it, and then we did. But that's okay. 'Tis the way of it, and there was no escaping it. It would eventually hit, and it just gave me, like, a good time to, you know, figure out what it is that I really want. Because as soon as you're restricted from doing anything, it's like all of a sudden the desire and the will and motivation to do those things appears out of nowhere, and you're like, well, great, I've got the motivation now, but I can't do anything. So it gave me some time to really figure out what it is that I'm gonna be doing once the you know, the gates open and I'm off. So that's fun. So anyway, yes, that's a extremely detailed personal life update that I'm not sure you necessarily asked for, but you got it anyway. You're welcome. Oh. So I guess, well, I don't want to jump right into tarot decks, just to do some updates, or just like my practice in general, because it hasn't just been tarot, but it's been a lot of tarot. So I haven't been purchasing or acquiring or like inviting in any new tarot decks in the last, since Christmas, really, since Christmas. So it's been a quarter. It's been 3 months. Yeah, it's been 3 months this week since, like, I've been focused on what's new, as opposed to, I've just been kind of like keeping to what's around already, and it's been great, arguably better. But one of the tarot decks that did sneak its way in was one I had pre-ordered absolute ages ago. Like, when this one was first announced, I pre-ordered it as soon as possible, because I'm like, that's for me. they made this for me, actually. So it was a long road to figure out how to get it to me. It's a US Games deck. They don't ship directly to Canada, so I had to pre-order from Book Depository, but then when it was released, Book Depository never got it, so I just, after months of waiting, just canceled the pre-order and just got angry and said, you know what, fine, I'm never going to get this deck. But then eventually I just ordered it from US Amazon, and it finally came. So anyway, long story short, the deck that caused me that much grief, this one, Le Pastoral Tarot. This is by Lisa Hunt, and Lynn Arujo was the author of the meetings in the book. And Lisa Hunt does the paintings, and these are the backs. So this deck is totally landscape. It is called the Pastoral Tarot, and it is very much a, what's the word? Bucolic dream? It's, this tarot deck, I feel like this one was specifically fit into my life in such a perfect way, just because of my lifestyle, my setting, my desires and focuses, and my reverence for a certain like local past in the area. So for those of you that don't know, I live in an old 1850s farmhouse in Canada. It belonged to my grandparents. They always lived here. My family grew up here. I've been coming here since I was a kid. Like this place holds a lot of family history as well as like personal magic, etc, etc. So what is it? I think Meg joked that just like living in my house is doing ancestor work. So a lot of my day-to-day, a lot of my, you know, coming and going, being around, doing the things that I do in my house is very important to my practice in its own kind of way. And this deck just kind of reflects the family history that this particular local area kind of reflects, I guess. I'm gonna show you some cards. I'm famous for just yammering while holding the deck, and you can look at a card. The whole deck is landscape. It is painted? Yes. Watercolors, I'm pretty sure. Hand painted by Lisa Hunt. And it is an RWS based tarot deck. And it's, you know, pastoral, bucolic, very North American. It's not just one particular area. It kind of spans. There's some that are kind of set in like the southern states, the west, the south, and the, you know, northeast New England kind of vibe about it. Some of them, you know, the forests of Appalachia, the, you know, the plains, the, you know, just farm, you know, historic farm life. And it just, it feels, oh, then you get some really nice ones like this one, the Ace of Swords, which is actually quite fun. Got a bit of a labyrinth, very like, you know, upscale garden energy there, but it feels, it reminds me of a version of myself, I guess one could say, that may not necessarily exist now, but that version of myself that existed in the past in other people, I guess, is a thing to say. So it's less, I really like it. Full stop, I really like it. I knew I was gonna really like it since I saw that it existed, since the teasers went out for it. I just like the cardstock. It's the thick, awful US Games cardstock. But comes with a bag, comes in a big fancy box too with a huge book. The book's nice. It occasionally references, so in the pictures there's usually a figure and then a setting, and then there's little details that for you to kind of pick out as you're looking at it. Like for example this one, well, this isn't the best example ever, but it's the Emperor, right? And it's, we know the Emperor's Aries card, right? And then we've got the Rams of Aries right there, and we also have the eagle up at the top, which is kind of a nice touch too. Eagle always, for me, being a symbol of Zeus too, which, you know, Emperor vibes, like it kind of ties everything together nicely, but there are little symbols kind of hidden throughout, and plant and animal ones as well. Very specific, recognizable plants and flowers. So if you are into, you know, botany and just, you know, working with plants, you've got sunflowers, there's daylilies down there, daisies, cornflowers, like very, you know, you can find and pick out the plants without them being too obvious and in your face and, you know, the main purpose of the card. But it's great. It's another very immersive tarot deck, right? It obviously picks you up, and because it's landscape too, it's like a portal. It just shoves you right in there and lets you path work and just get into feeling like you are in that particular space, and how the tarot meaning of that card relates to whatever question you've asked, or the situation, or, you know, the person that you're confronting, or, you know, having an interaction with in the course of, you know, this tarot reading. So it's very exciting. And like, there's still the traditional tarot symbolism. So you see this is our beautiful Queen of Pentacles. We've got our roses and lilies. They're there. Rose art. There's a hedge of lilies right there. Bees. There's a little lamb and a kitten. Like, there's so much to go on, and it's just really comforting and really nice, and I've been enjoying the heck out of it. So for a long time, I'm gonna say upwards of over a month, I was pulling a daily card with this, and I was pairing it, not surprisingly, with the Hellenic Oracle. Now, it seems kind of like, well, those things are not the same. Classical art of ancient Greek mythology and North American, like, pastoral, like, agricultural culture, like, those are different. But for me, it fit how I see things, and it also gave me a really strong as above, so below kind of energy. So you've got your deity energy, you've got your as above going on with the Hellenic Oracle, and then your mundane day-to-day whatnots was represented in the Pastoral Tarot, and it was so good. I loved it. the messages were like, it gave you the opportunity to find a place between those strong, like if for example working with a deity deck is overwhelming for you, it feels like a bit much, or you don't quite know how to approach it, pair it with a really mundane day-to-day, like almost overly practical deck that's very rooted in the earth. And so when you mix the two of them together, you get that combo which places you firmly in the middle, and it gives you the opportunity to be that conduit between the above and the below. And in the context of a reading, it's just really great. So this is, if you're new, this is the Hellenic Oracle. This is an oracle deck that I made because I was in search of a Greek mythology oracle deck that suited my needs, and it didn't exist. So it's all public domain classical paintings with the Greek god title on it in Greek and transliterated to English. It's available on Make Playing Cards. I'll put the link below. But anyway, it's a great Greek specific mythology oracle deck that pairs really nicely with the pastoral tarot, and that's kind of, that was my jam for well over a month. It was doing everything that I needed tarot to do at a time when I was just really not into anything overly deep or really complicated. Like the winter this year, I'm not gonna lie, it was really hard for me in variety of reasons, and having that little comfort, that little joy, that little thing that was consistent and comforting while being, just gave me an opportunity to kind of see things a little bit differently without being too much. This combo, it just did it for me. So very happy with that. So that was my day-to-day for, as I said, a long time. So it took me a while to kind of come out of that, to kind of, you know, I felt like I was like, no, this is what I do. Between that and my daily pull with the Devas of Creation, and then the occasionally the alchemical, or no, the Kim Cran's Alchemy Oracle. I was pulling from that for a while too, but again, sometimes that would be too much. Sometimes that would be like a little bit too much. I had to come back to just my regulars, and it did the trick. So yeah, that was that pair. 2 thumbs way up. Highly recommend. The Decan walk also, just, I probably should have mentioned this in the blurb at the beginning, but the Decan walk that I've been doing for the last year finally ended. It ended today. Woo! For the last year, I have been walking the path of the astrological decans through the minor arcana of the tarot, and it has been like one of the greatest learning experiences with tarot that I've done. Other than, the only other thing I think was my Tree of Life work. That's the only, like when I started doing that, that's the only other tarot practice that kind of amped up my reading ability as much as the Decan walk has done. So if you are looking for a way to deepen your relationship with the core essence of like esoteric tarot, then I highly recommend doing a Decan walk. Basically, you kind of choose how far and how deep you want to go with it, but every 10 days you get a new minor arcana card to focus on, which is related to a certain sign and planet. You can kind of pull in Golden Dawn associations. You can kind of feel what that card means to you in the context of the time frame it is. So, and it's going to be, if you do predictive readings, or if you do any readings that have any relation to time in the context of a year, it's going to be a great way to be able to narrow focus. You can even just say a month, you can say a sign, or you can narrow it down to that 10-day window when you're doing readings, and it's just infinitely helpful. But outside of that, if you have no interest in doing predictive readings, that's fine. But even just knowing that, like, the relationship of that card to that time. So, for example, right now, we just started the Two of Wands. Mars and Aries, Dominion. Super fire, right? It's, you know, you get the Emperor, and the Tower, very, like, fiery beginning, spark of life type energies. You know, you'll find as you go along and you focus on your 10-day windows in the card, they kind of line up, and you'll find more meaning in the card temporally as well. It's a good way to bring tarot into real life. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoy doing the read, like having my little Decan walk altar, pulling the card every 10 days, pulling its associated 2 major cards, the sign represented one and the planet represented one, and it was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I did it for a whole year. Did it for a whole 12 months. You know, March 20th from last year all the way until today. Like, yeah, it was a whole thing, and it's always going to be something that's in the back of my mind too when I'm seeing cards and doing readings. Like, it was something, another thing to pull out of the little filing cabinet of tarot information that you can use in a reading down the line. So it's another wonderful layer to add to your tarot knowledge. It's fun. You can pick any deck you want to work with. I highly recommend the Hermetic Tarot. That's the one I used. Thoth Tarot is great. Astra is good. Anyone that has the astrological and zodiacal symbols on them makes it super easy. So, but really, you can do it with any deck. You just have to have a chart or a deck and wheel that you can reference to kind of figure out which cards are for which day. And then once you get a good rhythm going, you almost like remember that it's been about 10 days, which, you know, we should look which day it's to switch into the next card. So anywho, yeah, it was great. Super fun. Highly recommend. Deck and Walk, good. Another cycle that I kind of started at the December 21st, Yule, that one, was the winter solstice, sorry, that's the word I was looking for, was the Kantaji walk, which is another like same sort of walk deal. Not every 10 days, every week you pull one of these in order and just kind of meet it and express it, and kind of it lines up with the whole of the year as well. So every week, every Wednesday, Deck and Walk, or not Deck and Walk Wednesday, Kantaji Wednesday, I pull the new card and take some time with the guidebook, read through the section of the guidebook, and really see that card as, usually I see it as more of like a portal / as an icon. It's just something to kind of, the same kind of energy as I would do with the Deck and Walk, to just kind of place it in time, place it around where I'm at the time, and like, you know, basically feel how I'm going to work with the energy of that card for those days. So it's been great. This is a very it's a beautiful oracle deck. It's by Laura Zespin as well. Sorry, I keep saying things like I assume you know what I'm talking about, but my apologies. The Kantaji Oracle is a mass market oracle by Laura Zespin and Ray Diamond, and it's a very, very earthy deck. It's if you have an earth-based practice, this is going to be great for you. It's a beautiful circular deck. Watercolor paintings as well. It's just a really great way to kind of put yourself in your world, practice mindfulness, and kind of, you know, see yourself in your life, maybe notice some things you otherwise wouldn't have noticed that may have passed you by. You know, great for shadow work too. Also, there's some times when I hit upon a card and it kind of makes me go, but that always is an opportunity for reflection, growth, you know, make a note, there's something here maybe I can work on. Or just, you know, or maybe just ask myself, why am I feeling like this? Why did I react like that? So it's beautiful, it's handy, it's great. Highly recommend it. I've been enjoying doing the weekly pulls with it so far. I think we're on what, like week 13? It'll be week 14 this time, so it's been chugging along nicely, and I for the most part remember to do it, which is great. I also, in the last few months, have had one of the most wonderful surprises that anyone's ever done for me. One of you absolutely amazing subscribers asked if you could send me a deck that you thought of me for when you saw it, and I was so blown away. I like couldn't, I still can't even. It was just so nice and so thoughtful, and you know, I'm incredibly deeply grateful for the fact that you even thought of me. Just like blows me away. And you know, I forget that, you know, I'm in here talking to myself in a room, and you know, there's other people out there in the world who know me and think of me when I'm not there, and it's just so nice. I could cry. I did cry a little bit. But this was a wonderful gift, and this is the Greek Goddess Tarot, the new Ellen Lorenzi Prince deck, and understandably I could see why she thought of me. There's a Thea card in here. It's so wonderful. It's not too often you see a tarot deck with Greek mythology themed that features Thea, which is absolutely wonderful. I'll see if I can find the card and pull it out for you. It is Greek mythology based, and it's a tarot deck, so it's another one that kind of like wiggles its way around the tarot structure and fits itself in. Sorry, I'll show you some more cards as soon as I find. Is she right at the end? Probably. There she is. And look, okay, I really like this card. The major arcana in this deck are really excellent. I do quite enjoy the major arcana. There she is. Very, very great Gatsby. Very, very much the Ellen Lorenzi Prince art style. This is available on Arnell Art as well, I believe, where you can get all of her other decks. it's just goddesses. So if you're looking for like a full-on Greek mythology deck, this isn't necessarily going to be it. I have some feelings and I have some reservations about this deck. I always, like, there's a ton of divine feminine decks out there, and I appreciate the inclusion of the variety of goddesses in it. It's pretty excellent. However, there are some things about it that I don't know. I have some weird reservations about. It feels like it's missing something. I need to give this more of a try. I need to spend some more time with it. There's Emerald. Beautiful. For the, obviously, sun. Yes. There's Demeter there, 5 of Grain. This is a repeat card. There's a couple of repeat cards from her Dark Goddess Tarot too, which struck me as a bit odd as well. So just, keep in mind for that as well if you're looking into getting it. I may do an entire video on this deck eventually once I've given it a proper try. The minors are, I'm not gonna say pippish because they are scenic, but they're just like a soft scenic, and the guidebook's good. The guidebook here, especially for the minor arcana, you're going to want to use the guidebook just to kind of see what the context is, because even if you do know your Greek mythology, sometimes the context is a little hard to pick up on. And there's some other things about the intentions behind the creation of the deck. But yeah, there's a conversation around the use of, inclusivity in this, and I like that it's there. I'm not sure it needed to be the first sentence in the guidebook about, the necessity for, I don't know, I feel like their creator was worried about people being like, oh, why is there so many different skin tones in a specifically Greek mythology deck? So, like, I understand why, it's fine. Gods and goddesses appear to those that work with them in a myriad of ways, not always even human. So for me, it just seems like it shouldn't even be like a talking point, but it was a decision that was made, and it's fine, and it doesn't harm the deck in any way whatsoever. So I'll just leave that there. It's a very interesting deck. It's not going to be a good beginner deck. Even if you are well versed in tarot, it kind of does its own thing. Well, much like many Ellen Lorenzi Prince decks, they are very much their own thing. And the tarot meanings in the minor arcana sometimes are a bit stretched quite thin to fit the myths that they're kind of associating with them. So it's an adventure, and I need to do a better job of coming at this deck on its own terms, as opposed to bringing the majority of my tarot knowledge with me. But I will say I did an interview spread, and I'm not gonna say it was mean to me, but it did have some sass that I did not enjoy. So that's a whole thing. So anyway, that is the Greek Goddess Tarot by Ellen Lorenzi Prince, a myriad of goddesses. The Fool card is chaos. We love that. That is great. The major arcana are fantastic, and I do have half a mind to just take the major arcana out and use it as a majors only deck. But we'll see. I need to give it a go. Like, I need to give it more love to really kind of get to know its voice and see what it has to say, and if it wants a place in my practice, in my life. But it's cool. I love its thematic roots. There's a Thea card. I have to give it a go. So I'm gonna give it a good honest try and see how it fits into my life. And the fact that it was a gift too makes it extra special and worth the try. So that is the Greek Goddess Tarot. Comes in this little blue bag too when you buy it, so that's really excellent. So Greek Goddess Tarot by Ellen Lorenzi Prince. I will update you in future about how I've got on with that one, but those are my first impressions right now. And again, I've got to keep in mind, I'm hard to please when it comes to Greek mythology as well, because it's like when you're just getting into something, or you know a little bit about it, you're more easily absorbed by things under that thematic umbrella. But when you're really into something, it's like with plant decks. I have a really hard time finding plant decks that I really like because I know so much about them. And as soon as I get, there's a few cards that really don't line up with how I experience those plants, it'll kind of throw you. So you end up being really picky about those kind of decks that you're really into the theme or topic or subject of. So that's just the nature of knowledge, I guess. So that's something to be mindful of. as well. But yeah, I will update you on my experience with it soon, hopefully. Speaking of plant decks, while I have that thought in my mouth, there is a plant deck that I think I'm gonna get on with. Took me a long time to find it. It found me, actually. And that's this one. This is the Glowwood Oracle deck. Full disclosure, this was attempted to be sent to me many months ago by the creatrix, and it never came. Never made it. Got lost in the mail or something happened, and it just never made it. But they got in touch recently and sent me another one so I can give it a go. And this is really, really incredibly neat. I'm still getting to know it. I haven't even actually shuffled it yet. I've just been reading the guidebook and I've been going through each of the cards. It's an oracle deck. It is another ecological oracle, which is great. I find plant related decks work really well for me as oracles as opposed to within the structure of tarot, which is nice. I kind of like tarot on its own, you know? I feel like tarot is a really unique and beautiful flavor that stands on its own really well, but then when you try and mix it with other sweet, delicious things, it doesn't really go. It's like soy sauce. You wouldn't put soy sauce with, like, ice cream. Or maybe you would. I don't know. Weird metaphor. Let's etch-a-sketch that. But anywho, the Glowwood Oracle. I'll show you some of the cards real quick. Beefy guidebook. Really excellent. And I'm really, really excited to get to know this. And even just flipping through it, I'm getting the little excited buzzies about it. Let's read the back real quick. An oracle deck rooted in ecology. It features 78 beings from the forest, so it is 78 cards, but it is not to have a tarot structure whatsoever. And I did ask that, just, you know, what the relationship to, you know, is there a tarot connection at all? Because you know how I feel when there's a deck that pretends to be tarot but isn't. Forest, whatever, woodland wardens, that's what it was called. Anyway, it features 78 beings from the forest, plants, insects, fungi, lichens, minerals, enmeshed in webs of real dynamic relationships. This is the good part. They're here to teach us how to read the landscape, its wild patterns and knots, its tendencies, its ways of being. The glowing forest is a reflection of ourselves. Grasping its cycles, we learn about life's cycles. Grasping its design, we learn about life's design. It lends us tools and knowledge. We need to peel back the veil of the ordinary and find the shining threads of universal truths. We love a universal truth. Matter flows, the wild teaches, such is the magic of nature. So, okay, that's what the back says. Pretty big words there. I'm very excited. Sorry, battery died. I'm talking too much. It's been a while. I figured this was gonna be short. No. All right, Glowwood. Here we go. Beautiful, pre-edged in black. The backs look like this. It's matte. It, you know, is gonna shuffle fine, if not a little stiff, but that's okay. So, anatomy of the card. You've got the image, which are all very beautiful and graphic and colorful and dark and just very, I like the look of them myself. And around, there's a title at the bottom. So this one is the Avascular mycorrhizae, which is fun. I love that there is a mycorrhizal fungus on a card. Sorry, any gardener would be like, yes, give me that mycorrhizal fungi. And then around the outside are a series of symbols. So I don't know if you can see or not, but around the outside there's little symbols, and each of those correspond to, basically they give you an oracle meaning that ties it to various other cards in the deck. So I've been through some of them. I know, like, there's the web cards with interconnectedness. So this one, it's like there's a little root on it, which means it grows underground. And I forget what the other ones are, but they're really easy to look up in the book. The back of the book is all the yeah. So here we go. See, we got a little eye. That one means knowledge. And then an owl's eye in a triangle, the eye of providence. So there's one of those in the corner on this one. And then, so basically what you do is when you pull a card, you can check and see if any of the others in your spread have the same symbols, which will amplify the message. But even without them, if you just pull one or two, you can look up those symbols and they give you a meaning for the symbol, as well as a full, couple of pages on the actual card itself. So there's no end of information that you can apply to a reading, but definitely this is the kind of deck that I'm going to be using the guidebook with forever. but that's okay. So let me just read you a little bit about knowledge and our owl's eye of providence, because I feel like I very much want to. I'm storing and transmitting information, perhaps in impressive quantities and at outstanding speeds. Intelligent repository, dispatching learning across time or space. An ability to analyze and draw conclusions from past experiences to inform future behavior. And that's on a fungus card. We all know how much, like, okay, yes, mycorrhizal fungi is the shit. And I guess I said it was a plant deck. It's really not. It's a forest floor deck. It's very North American woodland centric as well. So if you are from that part of the world, you'll probably pick up on a lot of the items. What are the items? Beings, creatures, things? Things is probably the best choice of word. But you will probably pick up on more of the things in the deck, the cards, if you live in a North American woodland type area. So I've got mycorrhizal fungi. There's trees. It's an alder tree. Got one of those growing outside. Very fun. Spider wasp. So there's an insect friend. One of the animals. Aspen. Gorgeous tree. Oh, the white bark is just so, you just want to touch it. You just want to run your hands up and down it. Very beautiful. And yeah, lots of symbols on the side of that one to look into. An interconnected underground network of fun. A beech tree. I've got one of those growing in my cistern right now, actually. Very familiar. And then here's some fungi. This is the birch polypore. And then the birch tree itself. I got a bunch of those too. For me, it's really exciting to have that be as familiar. And it's also going to give me this very much needed knowledge about fungi and mushrooms, because a good portion of the deck is mushrooms. Here we have the bitter oyster mushroom. Very cute. A black locust tree. There's one right there. Right there, that's a black locust. So, and just to be able to relate to the things in your immediate area with an oracle perspective is absolutely fantastic. It's part of the joy of working with divination, is being able to see the magic in those things, and the interconnectedness of them is what gives the meaning in this case, and it's just so cool. Chernosum, that's a type of soil, so that'll be fun. I like how it's not just plants and animals, it's inert substances, like types of rock. You've got, here's reindeer lichen. There's literally a bunch of that growing on my hand railing by the door downstairs. It's just bits and pieces, things you would otherwise just walk by and not even see. It's its own oracle card, which is absolutely wonderful. It just feels so grounded and so of the place, and so, it's wonderful. This one's clay. You know, thick and slow, but densely full of nutrients, but has a, you know, if it has a habit to cause root rot, like, you know, just if you're a plant person, if you were a someone who has an earth-based practice, you work with plants, you work with animals, you work with the spirit of nature itself, and the way that web of life interconnects with itself, and you see the, let's throw this out there, you see the spiritual connections between all of those, and this deck is going to fit really nicely into your practice. This is the clover, beautiful little flower. So I'm new to it. Like I said, I haven't even shuffled it yet. I've just been going through. I've been, springtail, love those. I learned about those in a David Attenborough documentary. I've never actually seen one in real life, but they're really neat. These little bugs that, like, as a defense mechanism can, like, fling themselves thousands of times the length of their whole body when they're in danger. They're so cool. They're just like little natural mechanisms of awesome. There's a snail, you know, the lovely snail, yet lives in its own little world, and I'm really excited to get to know about that world. And it's not just a garden pest, it's a cute little friend with a beautiful spiral shell, which I'm sure has tons of symbolism thrown into it. So, oh, Cryptophallus, earthworms, the fall webworm. This one is interesting. I'm curious. I need to look this one up. It made me think. We've got things what I've always referred to as tent caterpillars in the fall, and they look an awful lot like that. So are tent caterpillars and fall webworm the same thing? I'd like to know more. So it's the kind of, this is the kind of stuff that is just going to send me down little rabbit holes, and I'm really excited about it. Fern, fir tree. Oh, they just feel nice in the hand too. They're good and snappy and substantial, which is nice. Fire moss, yes. Now this is an interesting picture of them. I usually see them with like more like pink. It's like pink and there's usually like a droplet of water stuck to the flower on top, but so cute. Fireweed. Fumewort. Granite. Not just for countertops, friends. Stunning. Anyway, okay, I could go through all of these. Our honeybee friend. But yeah, it's very woodland. It's very, I don't know, it feels like being outside wandering in the woods. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with it. This is an adventure oracle. Just going into the world. I'm taking it into the woods with me. I'm going to pull some cards. I'm going to try and find the things it's referencing. Like Lily of the Valley. Got lots of that growing in the garden. That'll be easy. Limestone. Umbrella liverwort. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look it up. I love that there's things I don't know next to things that I do. So the stag beetle. It's great. This is wonderful. Ah, Maybug, which is what we call these June bugs. So again, something interesting to look at, but I think it entirely depends, like its colloquial name is entirely based on the season in which it emerges. So in some places it'll come out in May, other places, like for me, it comes out in June, so we call it a June bug. But anyway, oh, so cool. Okay, I'll stop gushing because you're probably bored. Well, are you bored? I don't know. Let me know if you're bored or not. But anywho, this is a beautiful, really well thought out, really gorgeously interconnected oracle deck that a ton of work has been put into, and I'm so excited to take it out into the woods and use it, to actually use it for messages, because right now I've just been looking at it. This one gives me the willies. This is a spider mite, and these little farts have a bad habit of covering themselves all over my boxwoods. So, not the most favorable card ever for that reason, but maybe there's, you know, something else I can learn about it that might improve its favor in my mind. Or maybe I'll just always see it as the enemy. Who knows? Anywho, that is the Glowwood Oracle. I'll leave a link down below if you're interested in looking into it. I'm one of those weirdos with a coupon code now, so if you want a deal on it, I've got like 10% off for you or something silly. So the coupon code will be down below if you're interested, but I don't know. It's up to you. Or you can just hang out and wait for me to give it a test run in the woods for you. Which I'm very thrilled about. So, and it comes with a bag too. All of these decks, this one, and this one, all come with their own bag. I like this trend. I'm very, very into seeing this going forward. I really like storing tarot decks in bags. I think it might be between that and a shitty tuck box. Shitty tuck boxes and tarot bags are my favorite way to store them. So anywho, yes, beastie. Glowwood. Stunning. Gorgeous. EmergentPlanetLife.com. And, sorry, the creator of the Glowwood Oracle is Lisa Bilecka. So, Lisa, thank you for making this freaking awesome, much needed, earthy delight of an oracle deck. It's going to fit really well into my wonderfully earth-based practice. Alright, so after I had my little, like, pastoral tarot, Hellenic Oracle, month-and-a-half long moment, I finally managed to get myself out of that and picked another pairing that just was like sitting really well. It was the vibe. It was of the time. And it was with one that it's been a while since I spent some time with it, but the Serpentfire Tarot was just telling me that it needed to come out. It was like, it's almost Aries season, my friend. You get me out. So we did. These are the backs. So good. So this is the Serpentfire Tarot by David Amber Wolf of Serpentfire fame. I think this is, I don't know, 7th edition or something, 7th printing. I don't know. This has been around for a while, but it is just as excellent. I really appreciate Davine's take on tarot. The images are beautiful and her art's stunning, but I almost just as much value what she has to say about tarot and each of the cards in the guidebook. She's got a very, very strong understanding of tarot itself and the astrological associations of tarot, as well as the energetic meanings of the cards, as opposed to, you know, just, you know, the situational. You know, some decks just they're great, but they're just really situational. They're very, you know, action-oriented, day-to-day of the mundane. This is not that. This is a little bit more than mundane, a little bit more magic, you know? So this deck has been really fun, and I've been particularly enjoying pairing it with this one, which is Soul Cards 1. They've just been singing together. I feel like this is not the best way to show them together because here, I'll do an overhead shot of them going through them side by side together because I want you to see them next to each other because they're just, they sing. I've been having the most incredible synchronicities between these two. It's a luxurious deck experience. It feels, it does the shush 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 in your hands when you're shuffling it. Like, listen to that. So delightful. It's a very luxurious experience, I will say that. But the cards just emit the type of energy that just plays really well with the soul cards as well. They both have that strong color, that strong energetic and line work, the way that the geometry within both of the cards kind of mirror itself. The colors mirror themselves, which really amplifies the message on top of the excellent descriptions in her little guidebook there. And I've also been listening to a lot of like 60s and 70s like hippie music as well, which for some reason it's a whole vibe. It's a whole vibe. It's been into it. I've just been, and it's a lot of the stuff that my parents listened to when I was younger too, so it's like a bit of nostalgia, a bit of inner child work, a little bit of like the vibe right now, a little bit of fantasy self work. It's, you know, it feels right. It feels like it fits with me right now, so it's just been, you know, a great combo. So that is Serpent Fire Tarot with the soul cards, and I'll probably keep using that. Oh yeah, the back does say the 7th edition. And I think she's got, and it's still available. I thought she was going to stop printing it, but I do think it is still available for at least one more printing if you're curious about it. So that's the Serpent Fire Tarot. It's excellent. As well as Soul Cards 1, which is a classic deck by Deborah Croft Chapin. There's also Soul Cards 2 and Portals of Presence. All are excellent, but just a really great intuitive deck that just lets you tap into whatever you're listening to wants to tell you. So incredibly cool. So that was a great combo that has, you know, started, and I think I'm going to continue at least for the next month with that, as well as, I don't know, Aries season, man. Fire. As soon as that fire comes back around and it hits me like a brick in the face. And I get right back into my really like the spiritual side of the spiritual practice, the looking for meaning, the trying to figure out the purpose of it all, finding myself in my place. Like that is what the fire season is for me. And there's really only one deck that can hold my hand through that experience, and it's the Marielle. So I've been using it for the last week or so, and I freaking love it. There's a reason that this deck is one of my top 5 ever. It'll always be. A good kyanite in the bag because clarity always, but this is the 2nd edition. This was the first one I got. This is the one I spent the most time with. I do have a copy of the 1st edition as well. It's just this deck is pure magic. The layers of the symbolism, again, talk about someone who knows tarot, who knows the energetic signature of each of the cards, as well as being an incredible artist in her own right. It's incredibly moving. I will sing this deck's praises up and down forever. It's one of my favorite decks of all time, if not potentially one of them. And I can't read this like a normal tarot deck. It's a different experience, and it's entirely based on my spiritual practice. So I can't just like pull this out. I could. I would read it very RWS-y, but it would be doing this deck a great disservice to read it that way because it is really its own thing. And the layers of symbolic representation in it, the associations of color, number, mythology, various mythologies, mythological kitchen sink, if you will, are all just so powerful and so strong. There's I Ching in here. There's Greek mythology. There's Christian mythology. There's a lot of Egyptian mythology. Lots of numerology. It pulls in the aspects of reading tarot numerologically, as the Merce. It also ties together the major arcana numbers with the minor arcana. So it ties everything together in a beautiful basket, and it really just hits right in the spiritual feels. It like punches me in the gut every time I use it. It gives me more to look into. It gives me more to dive into. It gives me more to see, more connections to tie together. And the more connections that you form in your brain between all of these various different symbols, the more clear your view towards what it is you are looking for is going to be. And that's why I love this so much. Oh, sorry, I've got my reading up from this morning, and it's just, oof. It's just so much. I can't pull more than 3 cards just because there's so much in each of them, and I could spend absolutely all day looking into those 3 cards and seeing so much further. Each one of these cards is a portal. It will take you somewhere. It will send you on a journey, and you will come back and you will be like, where did I just go? What just happened? Oh my gosh, I am different now. Like, her guidebook reads like poetry. And I don't know, if it all depends on how your brain works and how you see tarot. I've heard people refer to it as, it seems like gibberish, it's all jumbled and tied together, it's everything and nothing, it doesn't make any cohesive sense. And I could see why someone would say that, but at the same time, if you really relax your brain and be able to surrender yourself to see the similarities and the connections between each of these individual symbols and stories and mythologies and spiritualities, and kind of let down your preconceived notions and then really embrace the universal human experience through these cards, it is magic. So yeah, this tarot deck has been lighting me on fire once again. I love it so much for it. I really genuinely do. The messages I get from it are nothing short of like groundbreaking, eye-opening. It's like staring into the void. The book is called Landscapes of the Abyss for a reason. You are staring into the vast nothingness and seeing everything. And it's incredible. So anyway, I could go on, but I will spare you. That is the Marielle Tarot by Marie White. Mass market, Schiffer, available always. My gosh. And it is profound and it is amazing, and I am so glad to be reunited with it again. It's the right time right now. Like, I couldn't have pulled this out in like February, January. It would have been too much. It would have caused havoc, but I feel like it lines up so perfectly with this emergent energy of right now, of the spring coming, of Aries season lining up, this right now, this clean slate, this tabula rasa, this infinite potential. It just feels like fire, and the Marielle is so much a fire deck, and it's for right now. Right now is the time for it, and when I picked it up, I was like, yes, this right now. This is what I need. This is what my fire sign heart has been craving for so long. So it is time, and we're gonna get on. I think that is enough yammering for me today. I really do. It's probably, well, more than enough. I appreciate you being here with me today so much. Like, you're my reason for doing this, so thank you for being here. It lights me up, and I'm sorry it's been so long, but like I said, it was a hard winter. I've been through a lot. I was not in a good place for a while, but I'm back now. I feel better. I'm more confident. I'm more sure in myself right now than probably more sure than I have been for the last few months. Last few months, it was a whole lot of what and why. Many questions, no answers, but yeah, no, now is good. And yeah, sincerely, very much thank you. So with that, happy Ostara, whatever you celebrate. It's just the equinox, the balancing of the light and the dark, the day and the night. We're at a perfect moment of equilibrium, and it's great. And I hope you have a great day. And I will see all you fine people in my next video.